Hey everybody, you can't see me right now because you can just see Duke, but I am so excited to share this story about Duke with you. So if you've been in any of my coaching groups, you know Duke well. Let's see, let's get him over here. Come here, baby. You know Duke well. He's our little dog from Mexico. He's a Baja dog, for those of you that know that we live in Todos Santos. And I want to tell you the story of Duke because I think it's probably why I love dogs so much. Oh my God, I look. Ugh. Anyway, yes, I know that's poison ivy behind me, by the way. Okay, so here's the story of Duke. So Derek and I were living, this is your coaching video for today, and it's a story because it's one of the things that I've gotten really, really good at. And it's a question that I get probably the most from people is how do you trust your inner voice? And that's what I want to share with you. And Duke is a perfect example of trusting that inner voice. So there we are. Derek and I are living in Mexico. We're living in Todos Santos. It's about an hour and 15 minutes north of Cabo San Lucas on the Baja Peninsula of Mexico. So it's like Mexico light. It's very gringo Mexico. But Todos Santos is surprisingly a little more, it's a little more Mexican, very, very, very international, and just the coolest town. In fact, I'm talking a little bit later today to a friend down there about having a retreat. So if you're interested in going on a retreat with me, save January 10th through the 14th of 2024. So in a few months, January 10th through the 24th is when I'm thinking about having a retreat down there. So message me if you're interested. Okay, but back to Duke. So Derek and I are living down there. We are exhausted from a trip around the world. Even though we didn't work, we literally made traveling our job. We were up most mornings at 4 or 5 a.m. doing some tour that he wanted us to go on. I would have just gone to coffee shops and talked to people, but we are wired differently. So we went on a lot of early morning tours and we were just really fried. 30 countries in 10 months. We came home at the end of December and had Christmas with our family and quickly moved to Todos Santos. And I just had that feeling that we needed to go and rest. And we went there and lived there for 6 months and really, really rested. And we were living on the beach with Barney. This was in our first house. It was right on the beach, next to some gorgeous, gorgeous people. And now next to our friends Peter and Alexis, who live there full time with their 3 kids, which is so amazing. All because they came to visit us, which is really cool. I love you guys. And Derek's mom thought she wanted to get a dog. So we're at the pool one day and she's like, I found this dog. It's at the Humane Society. And I was like, okay, let's go. And Derek and his mom were like, we don't need to go right now. And I was like, that dog's gonna be gone. People want that dog. I can just tell that dog looks really cool. People are gonna want that dog. And I come from a major, major, major dog obsessed family. My family was in the dog show business. That was their career. So you can imagine this might make sense now about my love for dogs. It's actually not nearly as dramatic as my great grandmother or my grandmother or even my mother. They love dogs more than people. So, and I'm not far behind, although I love people more than dogs. Sorry, Duke. Well, maybe not. They're a tie, actually. So we go. So we finish our lunch. We don't go to the Humane Society right away. Sure enough, we go a couple hours later and they're like, oh, that dog's been adopted. And it just left a few hours ago. So we missed the dog, and they had just adopted out 90 dogs, and there are maybe 2 or 3 dogs left. And really probably, isn't that so pretty? Can you hear that wind chime? I love sitting out on the porch. So, oh gosh, I really do need to, this is from the pool last night. So there are 2 dogs that are really probably never going to get adopted. They've got they've really been chewed up pretty bad. So they're probably not adoptable dogs. They've been there a really long time. And Duke, if you've never heard Duke before, has the most ear-piercing bark when he wants to. Now he can also bay because we think he has a lot of beagle, but he was doing this bark that was ear-piercing. We could not talk to the vet, and Derek's mom was really wanting to find out when there would be another, batch of dogs coming through that she could come and take a look at. So they're trying to talk, and I go over to the chain link fence. He's in a cell block, right? It's all concrete. It's really clean, but really, really sad. He's in his cell block with his little, chain link fence, and I put my hand through the chain link fence, and he lays his head in my hand, and I'm sitting on the ground, and he presses his body up against my leg. And I was like, and Derek looks at me and he's like, we are not getting another dog, so you can just stop whatever you're doing over there. You need to stop it. And I was like, okay, but could we just take this dog for a walk and just see how he does on a leash? And Derek was like, sure, but we're not getting a dog, so just stop it. And I was like, okay. So we take Duke, and the lady says, he really needs to go a bit further because he's kind of a buck and bronco because he's been in this cage for so long. So if you take him up over the hill and give him a little bit longer of a walk, he'll do better. And they're like, okay. So we have Barney with us. Barney goes everywhere with us. He always has. And Barney's great with him. He's great with Barney. They both are on a leash, and they're just like walking like they've always been walking together. And I'm totally, falling in love with him. And I can see that Derek is like a hard no. And Derek doesn't tell me no that frequently. So when he does, like, I try to listen, right? So I was like, okay, like, I understand, but like, Terry, maybe that's my mother-in-law, like, maybe you want Duke. And she was like, I don't really. And I was like, no, but like, maybe you would. And she's like, no, I really don't. So I'm getting no from both of them. So we go home. We go back to Todos Santos. She goes back to Cabo. And I have a dream about Duke. And I wake up in the morning and I was like, Derek, I just really think that like we need to get that dog. And he was like, Anna, we don't have jobs. We don't have income. We don't have a house. We have storage units. We have no plan. We have no idea what we're doing. And we are not getting another dog. And I was like, okay, fine. So I go to yoga. And I go to yoga at Cuatro Vientos, just my favorite yoga studio. And when we go on a retreat together, I will take you there. And Gabriella, get ready. Like, you'll have to teach us a dance class and all the things. Oh, I'm getting really excited about this retreat. Okay, so anyway, I go to class, lovely class. I can't remember the owner's name, but she taught it. It was so good. One of my favorites. And at the end, in Shavasana, which Shavasana is just where you lay there like you're dead, like nap time yoga. In Shavasana, Duke shows up again. And I come out of the yoga class crying. And I was like, Derek, I know you don't want another dog, but could we just foster this dog and I'll get this dog trained, and this dog like can go somewhere in our family. Like, we have enough cousins, we have enough family members that all love dogs. Like, I'll get this dog trained and then like get the dog into one of our family's homes, because like this dog is a Morris. I just know this dog is a Morris. And he was like, moment of weakness, right? Because he was so tired of telling me no, because I can really wear people down. When I know that I'm right, I will not stop. So also that goes for like anybody that's hearing from me about the Reconnect. Like, if I think that you're going to be in this Reconnect class with me, like, I just won't really stop until you go ahead and register. And people think that like maybe that's pushy or aggressive, but like, I just know. And when I know something, I don't stop until it happens. So same thing with Duke. Good news for Duke, who's now over there living his best life on the front porch. So Derek has to run in and pay a bill to our Spanish school. And by the time he comes out, I'm like, it's all handled. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was terrified that he was going to tell me no when he got back in the car, that he was going to think about it and be like, yeah, actually, that's a horrible idea. I still stand by my no. So I got into action as quickly as I could. I called Terry and I was like, can you go get Duke right now? His name was Drake at the time. Can you go get Drake right now? And just like sign off on whatever they want you to sign off for, and just say that we'll foster him for 2 weeks and bring him to Todos Santos. It's like an hour away. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So she was already at the Humane Society when Derek came back to the car and was like probably ready to tell me no. And I was like, it's all handled. Like, your mom is bringing Duke. He'll be here in a few hours. So it took one night for Derek to say, actually, Mom, like, because we were really thinking that like we would train Duke and then Terry would fall in love with Duke and she would adopt Duke. And after one night, Derek was like, actually, he's my dog. He is no longer on offer. And I have to tell you, like, as much as I love Barney, like, our family is complete with Duke. Just like, we love Jack, but like our family became complete with Dean. And so like having these 2 dogs and these 2 little boys. Like, it's just what it's supposed to be. And what I've worked on my whole life, and what I really, really, really want to instill in you, and what I coach and what I teach, whether it's in a group program or private sessions, or you're watching me on YouTube, or you're in a free coaching call with me, whatever it is, we all have that little voice, that thing that shows up in us, like Duke showed up for me, right? Like a trip around the world. Like, I just knew in my bones I had to do it. I just knew in my bones I had to move to Todos Santos. I just knew that we had to flip houses. Like, I just knew it was Derek. I just knew it was time to have kids. Like, all the things, right? The only difference between me and you is that I take action. And if you're watching this and you're feeling like, well, how do you make that voice stronger, is the more you take action in alignment with your little voice, with your little inner voice that says, like, I know it doesn't make sense to get a second dog when you don't have a home or a job or a stable income or any of those things, but like, that dog is your dog. You know, it didn't make sense for me to fall in love with a guy that lived in another city after I just moved to Austin. And like, on our 3rd date, we were in love. And a month later, I moved in with him. Like, none of that made sense, but like, I just got the hit in the morning, because I teach journaling, and that's why I teach journaling, is in the morning, in my pages, I wrote, I should just move to Houston. And so I did. And so I do all these like crazy things, but they don't feel crazy to me, because I know that my little voice is never wrong. It's never wrong. I might be very, very uncomfortable. I might not know how it's going to work out. I might worry a bit, but that also slows things down and blocks me. So I'm getting better about not worrying as much, because I don't like things going slow. I like them going fast. So that is what I'm here to help everybody with, because I didn't used to be good at this. I used to ignore my little voice. It's why I quit drinking this year. My little voice said 20 years ago, when I was 24 years old, on the bathroom floor, hungover again, stop drinking. And I didn't. And I wouldn't. And I would negotiate. And what I know is that negotiating with your little voice really doesn't work. It'll work kinda. It'll get you good enough, maybe. It's gotten me a pretty good life. But I know that on the other side of doing this thing that my little voice has been telling me to do is just simply like, stop drinking. And I didn't even drink that much, but like, at all. On the other side of that is all of the magic and abundance and everything that I've wanted to do. I just know it in my bones. And so if you want to know how to do more of that, I would love to help you. Whether you want to do private sessions with me, group sessions with me, if you want to create something totally different, I'm working on two other classes and a podcast. So lots coming. I love you. But mostly, let's give some love to Duke. There's Duke. Hey, Duke, say hello to everybody. Hi, Duke. I love you. Guys, he's just the coolest dog. I can't imagine like what we would do without him. So I really, really, really implore you to listen to your little voice and take action. The more you take action, the more your little voice gets stronger and louder and easier and more fun. Okay, bye.